Hello everyone, Kim Victoria here. Today's video is a tutorial and flip through, and the tutorial will be for another one of these. So there will be two of them, and I will be selling those in my Etsy shop. But it was requested. Now I created a video, 5 ideas for using paper bags. And what I was using were these simple lunch bags. And I taught, uh, we have our little local art group, so I taught them how to different ways of using paper lunch bags. And this was one of them. So I've got requests to make a video. So here we are. But I wanted to change it. So we'll go through this one again, and then I'm going to go through this one step by step and show you how I made it. And mostly the tutorial is going to be about the structure because you don't need me to show you how to make tags and that sort of thing, but we'll go over all that for sure. So well, I think that's all I have to say at the moment. Let's go ahead and get started. Here is what I have. And I'll just do a really, really quick flip through so you can decide whether you want to stick around. This is bias seam binding that I got all wet and I ironed it out and then I scrunched it all up while it was still damp to get kind of that texture that we all like. You can see I've got a little lace trim. I have some beads. So I just had fun with it. This is the open part of the paper bag. It's been reinforced. Got some stickers, rubber stamps, pockets. This is a little belly band idea. It wraps all the way around. This was a paper doily, so I just folded it to make a corner pocket. So I only have 4 sheets of paper that make 16 pages, lots of writing space. And this is the base of the bag, which is a nice little tuck spot. And so that's really all there is to it. It's very simple. I did sew in the signatures. There's this little bitty spine. So this is just with this simple paper bag. And I decided I wanted to have the pocket on the top. So that means I want to just fold it in half. Now let's see. Yes, that's right. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And I did write myself a little guide because sometimes I get ahead of myself and then I go, "Ooh, I wish I had done that." So I do recommend you write yourself a little guide, a little step by step, unless you're so seasoned that you remember everything. But I've made a lot of journals now, over 100 as a matter of fact. I've got a long way to go to catch up with Natasha, which will never happen. But I've made over 100 journals now. It's really kind of amazing to think about. So, but I need a little guideline, something to get me started. So the first thing to do, because there are so many different sizes of paper bags, and in my previous video, I made a wallet style with a smaller coffee bag. The first one I made with one of these lunch bags, but then I decided it'd be fun to make one with one of my coffee bags. So you do need to measure. I'm sure there's variety around the world. This particular one is 5¼ inches by just a little shade under 11. So 10¾ But you don't have to do much in the way of measuring because you can just make marks, which you're all familiar with. This paper, I had a couple sheets of this in my stash. I thought, perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and use that. So again, I don't have to measure at all. I'm just going to leave a teeny little bit of a margin. Now, see, right away, I did something that I didn't want to do. It's okay. It's easily fixed because this is going to make the difference. I do want a little spine. Okay, so I wasn't allowing for that. So let's get that spine in there, and then we're going to put the spine in our scrapbook paper. And this is more of a cardstock weight scrapbook paper. So I do want to have a little bit of a spine. So I did fold it at 5.5, and I want a 1/4 inch. So I want to go an 1/8 inch this way and just an 1/8 inch this way. And this is going to be assisted by, and I just made the other one last night. So that's why I like to write myself a guide. Okay, so knowing that, and I know this is my front. However, I don't have anything to fold over. On this one, it was just plain scrapbook paper. So I was able to fold it over to reinforce the edge. And I did that both on the inside piece, folded it over. So this is a fold right here. On this paper, I have nothing to fold over. So what I did was I had a little remnant over here, and I was able to put that on the inside. So I want this to be, I'm going to go ahead and make this pretty much exact. I can have it extend over. It all depends on your bag and that sort of thing. But I'm going to go ahead and make it pretty much flush with the edge. I am going to measure this one. So I want it 5.25. So I don't really need that mark. If I know that it's 5.25, I'm just going to go to 5.25 and 5.5. That's going to be better. That's going to be better. And this is going to control this because this is really sturdy. There we go. So that's the most important thing. This is the structure. I think it's very important to make sure the structure is good. So now the other thing that's on my little list is to remember to ink the edges before gluing up. And I am going to use Vintage Photo for this. Let's see, what did I use before? Actually, I used Vintage Photo on the bag, and I used Victorian, what's it called? I used Victorian Velvet on the cardstock. But a little bit of this bag is exposed, so the Vintage Photo is very nice. So what's really going to anchor that is the glue up. And I just want to let you know with the glue up, I really like to use Yes Paste instead of glue stick because I go through glue sticks really fast. But I do like to combine it with the Barely Craft glue. Art glitter glue would work. The other things that would be just fine are, of course, the beacon glues are excellent. So whatever you have, I mean, you could definitely use glue stick, but it would be a very good idea to go around the edges with a stronger glue. And that is my recommendation on glue. Now, this jar doesn't have much left in it, but I'm going to use it up. And I just have an kind of a funky bristle brush. I don't use one of my really good ones, but I really like having the long handle and getting a lot of glue on the brush, and it just cleans up with water. So I do love that. And making sure that I have it the way I want it. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to make myself a little mark in here because on the first one, I really couldn't see how far to put the glue because I just do one half at a time. So I've really, see, I've got gobs of glue on there, but that makes it go a long, long way. So there is our outside structure. Now, I did write this on my little notes. If you wanted to have a ribbon or something on the inside that you could tie as a closure or something like that, that would be something you'd want to do before you glue this down. You know, you could have a ribbon all the way around. And I considered that. But then what I wound up doing instead was just threading this material through the spine, and I like that better for the aesthetic that I was going for. But I certainly could have glued some ribbon underneath and there would just be a bow at the end. So that would be an option that you would want to think about. And that is something that I have learned through trial and error and going like, ooh, I wish I'd remembered that, but then I didn't. So then it's like, okay, I need to kind of give myself those notes so that I do remember those things. Okay, so now I want to cover the inside, but I want these all to be separate pieces. And because I want it to go a little bit under the flap, and I'm decided that it worked best if I didn't put anything in the spine on the inside. It's just so narrow, and it would create restriction. You know, it would want to stay flat and open. It wouldn't want to close. It works great having it on the outside. But on the inside, it would just cause way too much restriction. So the first thing, of course, is to cut it down to size. And I could fold over this side. Yes, I think I want to do that. So I want a piece. So this is my mark for here to here. And then I want this piece to go underneath the flap a little bit. And that's going to leave me plenty for turning over the edge. So I've got this mark, and here is, I'm going to make sure I've got my spine in the right place. Yeah, there it is. So I want that to go underneath a little bit. I want this to go on this side of the spine. I don't want it to go into the spine area. And then if I bring this across, I can see I've got plenty to fold over and tuck inside. So that's what I want to do. So let me cut my pieces. I cut my pieces and then I'm going to ink the edges. Always be sure to get the glue in the corners. Those are the things that tend to pop up, of course. It's taking a minute for it to grip. Okay, so before I glue this down, I want to make sure I see where the inside edge of the spine is, and I want to go just to the left of it in this case. And I want to mark where I want to fold it. And I'm going to fold this first. I want to put the mark aligned with one of the grooves. There we go. And we want to double check. And, these are very thin papers, so there's a little tear there. This is going to take care of that tear. Oh, yes, and it does help to put just a teeny little miter to it so that when it's got glue on it, it will slip in easily. And that is how we want it. So, I mean, I could do the big area first and then do inside the flap, but I think I'm going to do the inside flap first to anchor it down while I still have plenty of time to adjust it. So if you are able to fold over to go inside of a bag, it's a good idea. It does create a really wonderful edge to your pocket. All right, making sure I get it in the correct spot. And while that glue is still wet, I can wiggle it around. There we go. Make sure everything is where it belongs. Oh, that's fine. That's just fine. It's a little higher than the others, but that is just fine. And we're going to lose that cutout, and that's that doesn't matter. Now, I want to finish off the front. So I have this little scrap left. And I'm just going to glue that up, and I will be all done with the structure. And I didn't miter the sides at all. I was just noticing that it goes in quite easily without mitering, so I'm just letting it go all the way to the edge. Not that it matters which way it goes at this point, but there we go. Just kind of tuck that in there. And I want to line it up. I want to line it up with the cover paper and make sure it's not sticking the flap closed so there's no ooze on the edges. We just want it to come together nicely here. As if it was folded. Because remember, just like we did back here, if you can fold the front, it makes a very nice edge. But this paper was definitely too much right to the edge, and I wanted all of that. Okay, making sure the flaps are not getting stuck into, getting a little bit stuck into the little glue there. Just want to make sure everything is nice and open. I have not found necessary to reinforce the gussets, but you certainly could. I would suggest a lighter weight paper if you decide to reinforce the gussets. So let's just let that breathe for a minute. Okay, while we're waiting for this glue to dry, I am going to go ahead and close up this pocket, the bottom of the bag. And so that we can go on to other things, I'm just going to add a little helping hand here with these clamps. So now I can set that to dry. So I wanted to put a signature in, and I can make it 5 1/4. I can bring it right out to in line with the paper, so it's 5 1/4, and this way is 5. Okay, so I found this paper in my stash and was thinking it through. The grain of the paper is going this way, not this way, and that is perfect. Because what I was thinking is I can have a pocket and I could get, yes, because it's 12 inches plus this little strip, and I want 5 inches from top to bottom. So 5 plus 5 is 10, and it gives me a 2-inch pocket. Aha. So I can cut these papers at 5 inches, and that will give me four sheets of paper. And I want to make sure I cut it in the correct direction. Yeah, it's a little shy at 12 inches there, so I can take off like a 16th, if that. Actually, it doesn't matter because I can make the pocket a little shorter. So 5 inches on that one and 5 inches. And that will give me 4 sheets to fold in half and have 16 sides to play with. And because I want 5 inches, I'm going to go from here to here, and then whatever is left over can be my pocket. And one more fold. I better do it this way so I can see where it is. Oh, it's just a 1/2 inch. Okay, let's do it this way. And this is one time when the glue stick is nice because it's just one little strip. It's nice to have a variety of glues at hand, right? You just never know. You want the appropriate glue for what you're working on. Okay, so I want to get rid of this excess bulk that's going in the gutter. You must have seen this before. I am just taking a sliver out of that fold. So then there's nothing in the gutter to create that bulk that would make this, bounce up more and that sort of thing. So same here. Okay, I don't need to glue it yet because I'm going to be trimming the edge. I do want to ink the edge though. And if you're inclined to do any sewing after we trim it, that would be a good time to do any sewing. I did not do any sewing on this one. All right, so I think this is probably anchored enough. Yes, it's very good. So now we can just make sure those are nicely together. Put them into our spine. Put a little mark. And I want to be inside of that mark because I was right at the edge. So I'm going to line that up so that I am going to be cutting it inside of the mark. And this is where I do need, there it is. And I did find a use for these, and we'll do that at the very end. Okay. So that's going to fit beautifully. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue the pockets down. We are ready. I think I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to sew in the signature. And I just grabbed a little piece of, where did it go? Okay, there is my awl. There it is. And there is my needle, and I'm using embroidery floss. And Natasha on Treasure Book showed this trick recently that she had just learned. I have been sewing for 60 years, and I'd never seen this before, and it works. Now, I always like to wet the end of my thread, but what she explained, and it really, really works, is that all my life I've been taking the thread to the hole in the needle. And that's, it works fine. I never reversed it, but after she showed that, I did it, and it's so much easier. It has worked absolutely every time. And I find that so interesting, taking the needle to the thread instead of the thread to the needle. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So you can teach old dogs new tricks. Oh, I have a little lift there. I need to add just a little bit of glue under that edge before I put this down. And I got a little lift over here too. So that's something to watch out for. You want to make sure those are anchored down. So now, because this is such a narrow spine, I can see the spine clearly on the outside, but not so clearly on the inside. So normally, if I'm just doing a single signature and it's a simple fold, I just put the whole thing in, poke the holes and go for it. But because I gave this a 1/4 inch spine, I'd really like the thread to show up in the middle of the spine. So I did make myself a little template. Just grabbed a little piece of scrap paper from the garbage, and I'm putting that right up to the edge of the this edge of the spine. Now I feel very confident I can eyeball what the middle of that spine is from here. And that's going to position my thread in the middle of that spine on the outside where it's going to show on the inside. If it's not exact, I better write top on this because this is the top. I didn't do it before, but yeah. So that's how I'm doing it on these 1/4 inch spines is first I'm punching the hole from the outside in because I want that to look nice on the outside. So I hope that makes sense. And then I can go back in and I can really make sure that that hole goes all the way through well. All right, so that's the only time I need my little mouse pad cushion, and you can see the holes on the inside now. So I want to do the same thing here. And this is the top. And rather than folding it, I'm just making sure I have the same little margin on the top and bottom. See, I've got it overlapping a little bit here and here, and that will center it for me. That works for me. Okay, so I am ready. So then I just have to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I deliberately left long tails, and we will get to that as well. But if you just take this right now, right where this is, you've got your structure, you have a little signature, it's already cute, it's already pretty, it started out. Now it's just embellishing. And that's just what direction you're going with the embellishing. So I did On this particular one, I have this lovely trim, and I sewed all the way through it. So after I glued it on, I sewed all the way through it. This time I didn't do that. So that's, this is just something for you to decide at the time. I thought it was very fun, though, that this trim, I have a full-size heart here, and I go around, and it goes all the way to a full-sized heart here. So that was kind of cool. All right. But before I put it on, I inked the edges. So we do want to start with the front. Actually, I kind of want to start at the spine because I want it to line up really, really well. So all right. The easy way I found to do it is to start by putting the glue on the paper. And I'll go ahead and put a little bit of glue on that particular heart because now I'll be able to get to it. And I won't afterward. There. It's all nicely lined up. Make sure I didn't move anything. And now do the same back here. And you could stop there. I did add a little bit of glue to the points of this decorative element, just so that it would just stay where I wanted it and it wouldn't get, I don't know, wrinkled up or damaged or. Especially this end one, I definitely want glue on the ends. There. And same for this side. So I'm not going to put the closure on yet because I want to do some things with the inside. And I was playing around with various ideas with what I might do with the inside. So let's bring back our first one. And I don't think I need that now. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. One of the things that, well, I do have the butterfly. Let's get out the butterfly. Where is the butterfly? There it is. It flew away. I do find stickers to be, well, sticky. They can be a problem to get loose. So I'm just making a duplicate in decoration to the first one. And let's go to the first page. So what I did here is I bought a couple of grabby boxes last year, and so I want to use them, right? And so because this Distress Oxide Victorian Velvet matches this color so well, I don't want this white margin. If I just ink around those edges, I can make it almost disappear into the background. And it's okay if I overlap into some of the image a little bit. It just makes it blend more. I can even sneak a little bit into the little white spaces. It's like just putting just a layer of color. Now see, doesn't that look better? I want it to blend. Okay, so now, and we don't have two of the same thing in all of this, but the kit came with these beautiful transparent stickers. And there are some fun things in there. I think for this one, I will use this little flower basket. I used the little picnic table over here. So if I put her there, it's such a tiny thing. Okay. But so cute. I like it. Okay. So let's see. The other thing is that I did do some rubber stamping, and I did quite a bit actually, stenciling and stamping. And this is from this particular Tim Holtz collection. I had this little card stock. It was like postcard kinds of stuff with envelopes, and it was cute. So I went ahead and I did a couple of those, folded them, and those can go in those pockets. And we need these pockets. And that's where this last remaining piece comes in. I used every little bit of this scrapbook paper. So let's see. The first thing I want to do, I want to cut it in half and half again because I need 4. And that's 12 inches, so I need 6, 3, and 9. Belly band. I have this it was just a short piece, so I didn't have to go around one page, and I decided to go ahead and go around both pages. And let me see. So, yeah, I just glued it down on the bottom and the top and created this transparent belly band. And it's very pretty. Kind of. And the glue just disappeared underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. You might not even be able to see it in the video. I can barely see it here. And I just wanted to make sure it stayed as flat as possible, so I did apply glue top and bottom, both sides. Making sure the page stays nice and flat so that I'm not curling the page as I put a slight tension on the fabric to make sure it doesn't, yeah, curl the paper. But I want it flat. All right, we're going to let that set before we put anything in it. Okay, so now I made a corner pocket on a couple of these, and I have these heart doilies. So I'll show you that. So, it's just line it up the way you want it, and it makes a nice tuck spot. And I can make it as high or low as I want. I think I'll go that way. And I want to cut off this little excess piece. Now I could ink this, but I didn't. I didn't feel it was necessary. So I just want to make sure it's all nicely lined up and then glue it down. And I can glue a few of these edges because they're going to be on top of just a couple of them because they're going to be on top of a solid piece of paper. I don't want to glue the tuck spot shut. Okay. All right, so that one's ready to go. And then I did it again in the back. So I'm just kind of doing two sides at the same time. And I always go back and double check to make sure that the glue didn't stick anything to an adjoining page. Yeah, everything is loose. Wonderful. Okay, I think that's all the components. Okay, we got to do a little beading and we got to put the ribbon on, but we've got all the components. Okay, but I have those all ready to go. So I did some stenciling, and this stencil was from this Tim Holtz. So it has the flower and it has this kind of Arabian geometry and the butterflies. So I used a couple of the butterflies and I used both of these parts of the stencil. And I did use the soft brush to apply. And they came out very pretty. And I already have them rubber stamped. So that one goes there. Let's go back to the beginning. So we have this first page. And then this was just something that was in one of the scrapbook kits. And I had something for here, yes. Just some little bits that I had around. And on this side, I made another one. I did the flower instead on this one. It makes a really cool belly band. I didn't put anything in here, but I did put an itty bitty little heart. I have a hole punch that punches out these teeny tiny little hearts. So why not? I just went ahead and had a little fun with them. A little dot of glue. Sometimes it's those itty bitty little touches. Oh, and I did one there. Yeah, let me get that one. Sometimes it's just the tiniest little touch that adds just that little elegance, that little fun. Just that little extra thing is so cute. All right, so those are all okay. And that's okay. And I have some lovely paper. It's just some lovely stationery for printer paper. And it goes so well with this. So I went ahead and put it in the pocket. And I had this fun paper. It just so happened I had 8 little sheets. So those can go in those pockets. And I made some cute little tags. And of course, you can do a lot more embellishing. I put little hearts up here, so I've got them. Let's put them on, right? Okay, we'll come back to the beading. Let's see. So now this page. Didn't do anything on that. I could rubber stamp it or something, but I didn't do anything on that. And we got another sheet of pretty paper. Oh, I did put a little heart there. Let's get that little guy. We'll just give one of these 2 tags. I think we are up to the beads, and then I have one more element. So let's go ahead and do the beads. Now the beads are a fiddly bit, because these are tiny little beads. They're just teeny tiny little beads. But it just adds that little something. It's kind of like the teeny tiny little heart. And again, I learned this from Natasha on Treasure Books, is if you take a little bit of glue and you put it on the end of your, this is embroidery floss, and then you twist it in the same direction that the floss is already wound. Let that set a bit. You get a really nice point, because the hole on these beads is so tiny that you can put a beading needle through, but I'd have to be using a super fine beading thread, or just a normal kind of a sewing thread. But I want to put them on this embroidery floss. And I have found that this works fantastic. You just glue that end, and it's going to get cut off anyway. And you just make that nice point, and then it goes right into the bead without any trouble at all. Of course, it's going to show me that it didn't work. There it goes. And there it goes. And there's the bead. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 beads on each of these strands, and then I'll be back. So if you wanted to, you could I could have left the thread long enough that it would have acted like a bookmark, which might be fun with a bigger journal. But right now I was just going for kind of that fun dangle sort of look. So all you have to do down here is just create a knot and bring it up to how far down you want the beads to be. And the nice thing about this is this can be flipped up so it can be out of the way. Either way, either way would work. So, and these beads, maybe have them just offset a little bit different. Uh, okay, that's our beads. And the only thing left to do, I think, and we'll double check, is to feed this. This is by a seam tape. I got it wet and ironed it to get rid of the straight folds. And you can still see them a little bit. And then crinkled it up while it was still damp so that I could get this kind of vintagey look. And just get that. And so this is really fun, because if you want to tie the bow in the middle, you can pull more through. If you want to tie it right at the end, you can pull less through. So you can control where it goes. All right. Okay, I think there was one more thing, and then we'll do a quick flip through. There is one thing I wanted to show you on this first one. So come back, let me show you that little trick, and we'll finish this off. So the last little thing I did want to show you what I did on this. These butterflies are stickers. They are stickers, and they had quite a large white margin on them, which I fussy cut off. But then I thought, wouldn't it be fun to, I don't know, give them antenna? They didn't have any antenna. I used a whiteout pen to draw the outline around, and add antenna. And then I added dots on that one as well as antenna and an outline. But because it was white out, it's a little more subtle. It wasn't a glaring white. It's blends with the blue more. So that was just a little piece of fun that if you have some dark paper, whiteout is still a handy thing, even if we're not using it with typewriters and all that sort of thing. Oh, just a quick reminder as a flip through on this one. I did put in mixed media paper. So all of this white paper is mixed media paper. And I put that in because I can draw on it, I can pen and ink, I can do acrylics, I can do collage, I can do whatever I want because it's mixed media. So I just made this as a great little kind of like a portable sketch pad. And I might put some more paper in the pocket. I don't know. This is still very new. So this was the original idea with the spine and what was people made a request to see how it was constructed. And you can see that once you've got the basic covering and everything like that, it's a very sturdy thing. And I didn't glue the gussets shut at all because it's very sturdy. You can see here, the gussets are still open. They could be glued shut, especially on this back side. You could also have sliced this open, or I could have, and this would be another pocket. But I decided one big pocket in the front was quite enough. So we've got two of these now. These will be on my Etsy shop, and I did have one more little embellishment that I was going to put in. So let's go ahead and flip through. Now let's see. Yes, it's already in this one. I'll need to put it in this one. So we have the bias seam tape for our closure. So we'll just kind of put them side by side here. And we've got the trim. We have some writing cards on the inside. And you could write on this side. And for that matter, you can write on this side. It's got lines. Um, but this could have more goodies inside. I just decided to leave it at that. And this could have more embellishment on it. It could have another pocket. There's so many things that could be done. And I'm going to be including a few papers in this front envelope to add as decoration for whoever becomes the owner of one of these journals, both of these journals. So we have things in a little added pocket. We have a belly band on both sides. I used one entire sheet of this scrapbook paper. So I used one piece of scrapbook paper for all of the coverings of the paper bag and another piece of scrapbook paper for all of the tags and two sheets of scrapbook paper for each of the inside pages and just use them up completely. So we have some writing spot, a journaling spot. We have these journaling pages. We have some tags, again from that stripy paper. Could add butterflies. I mean, a whole lot more embellishment could be done if one wanted to. We'll have some beads on the signature sewing. And here's the little extra. I had these little offcuts from trimming these pages, so I turned it into a hidden paper clip. Oh, I have to shorten that one a little bit. Yeah, I have to shorten that one a little bit. So, it was offcuts, but they also could be written on, right? So this page now has something on it too. Every page has some sort of embellishment. And we have tuck spots here for something else. And we have a tag in the back that's also could be a journaling spot. So here we have simple. They take a little time to put together. You want to measure everything and get everything lined up nicely and all of that good stuff. So here we have paper bag journals that are really pretty. I wanted to do something pretty this time. Something pretty, kind of cute, not grungy, really sweet. And these would be a great they could be like a greeting card to a loved one. You could tuck photos in or paste photos in or use photo corners on one of these pages. Write notes. It could be a greeting card. It could be something you use yourself, like a gratitude journal or something that you give to a loved one. Or you could make it a family project. So the love between all the members of the family. So I hope that you got a few ideas from this, especially those of you who requested that I show how to make this one. So I tried to put in details, but just enough. And I thank you so much for watching. Yeah, have fun. Try this out. Great way to use different size paper bags. You could make a big one with this same kind of construction, right? Any size paper bag would work for this. Just take more paper. So, anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video. Bye for now.